Let's start, if we could, just with the state of the American Rescue Plan, if we could, and these stimulus measures. I ask in part because it appears that there's a bipartisan group of senators that are troubled by the amount of money going out, the idea of $1,400 reaching some people at a certain income. 16 of them joined a phone call with you on Sunday. What happened on that call?
Well, look, happy to be here. Good to see you. It was a good call. It was a constructive conversation, and this is part of the process. The president put forward a plan. We're now engaging with members of Congress from both parties to consult with them to make the case on the provisions included, and this is all part of the process. I think if you look at the American Rescue Plan in total, what you see is an effort that is actually what we need to get shots in people's arms, get schools open, get relief to families and businesses, and in a way that is targeted to those who need it most. But we're looking for people's input. We're having the conversation, and we're going to move this forward.
Is there a way to do a more targeted effort in terms of getting that $1,400 just to the people who need it most?
Well, look, I'd make 2 points. The first is, if you look at the provisions of the American Rescue Plan, very targeted: hunger, homelessness, unemployment insurance. Certainly, we welcome the focus on targeting, including from Republican members, and those provisions should have broad bipartisan support. When it comes to the checks, we put forward a proposal that, to your point about bipartisanship, passed the House with 275 votes. 44 Republicans voted for it. Certainly, if there are ways to make that provision and other provisions more effective, that's something that we're open to, that we'll have conversations about. But I think if you look in the aggregate, this is an approach that is very much targeted at those workers and those businesses that are struggling the most in this economy.
How concerned are you that some of the stimulus money, at least in the past and perhaps in the future, will end up, frankly, in the stock market? There are anecdotal reports over and over again. In fact, arguments about why the stock market has moved the way it has because stimulus money has been thrown into the markets.
I would step back here and look at what's actually in the rescue plan. The first big piece of this is to underwrite a national vaccine and vaccination and COVID effort about getting shots into people's arms, getting testing ramped up, and getting schools back open. That's money that's going to support concrete efforts that we know we need, and they're long overdue and are key to our economic recovery. Supports to states and local governments so they can avoid laying off teachers, firefighters, cops. Those are resources that will go into the economy and support and stabilize as we're able to get this virus under control. Other elements like unemployment insurance, we see those who are unemployed are looking to deploy those resources to keep themselves afloat and their families afloat. And with respect to the checks, again, if you look at this, 2/3 of the benefit of the checks that have gone out have gone to families with less than $90,000 in income. Those are resources that families are looking, again, to bridge savings if they've lost a job, if they haven't lost a job and they have extra expenses. So, we think that this is a sensible approach and calibrated to the moment that we are in right now, where the risk of not acting, the risk of inaction at this precarious moment in the economy really outweighs the risk of sitting back and waiting and seeing as the virus accelerates and as the economy moves downward.
Hey, Brian, what is the most important focus for this administration? Is it going to be to get a big bill with all the things you just laid out, or is it going to be to get a bipartisan bill?
Look, you heard from the president yesterday. We are at a moment where we need decisive action. We need to move quickly, and we need to move comprehensively. We've learned over the last 10 months what happens if you address this crisis piecemeal. We need to move comprehensively, and we need to move quickly. So that's really our focus. We certainly want to move with as much support as we can.
It sounds like big. If you have to choose between the two, you're going to go with big, and that means budget reconciliation?
Well, look, we need to do what it's going to take to solve this crisis. We can't get schools open if we don't get control of the virus. We can't get control of the virus unless we invest in the resources we need. We can't get people back to work if we don't get the schools open. So, we need to tackle this comprehensively. We're very open to people's input and ideas. That's the process that's happening right now. But we do need to move with speed here so we don't find ourselves a month or 2 or 3 from now in a place where the virus isn't getting under control, the economy is in a worse place, and we're all asking ourselves why we didn't act.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.